Swift friends, it's Prof G and I hope you are ready for the mother load of image loading. In this video, we're going to load our images. Now, in the previous video, we saved images to Firebase storage. Now, we also stored a reference to the Cloud Firestore database so that we knew where the images were stored and which restaurants they applied to. Now, in this video, we'll load the right images when our app shows information for a given restaurant. Now, we'll also learn lots of important concepts along the way, including how to get information on where the images were stored based on the data that we previously saved to Cloud Firestore, and how to load multiple images from Firebase storage into a collection view. But we'll also point out that the images are reloading each time, and we see a bit of flashing in our collection view, which will set up our next video where we'll learn additional techniques for buttery smooth image loading, image caching, and fading images in with animation techniques like dissolve. But we need to get through the basic concepts here before we can make them slick and smooth. So let's get coding. Now, as a reminder, each restaurant or spot has a spot document. Now, that document has a photos collection. Now, the photos collection is made up of individual documents, and each of those documents has information on a given photo of that restaurant. And the name of these photo documents is the same as the name of the photo itself that was stored in Firebase storage. Now, in Firebase storage, we've also got a folder for every spot or restaurant. That folder has the same name as the spot's document ID in our Cloud Firestore database. So we use the spot's document ID to find the folder for that restaurant, and then we use the individual photo document names or document IDs to find a given photo. So to display the images for the spot we're looking at in our app, we need to read in all of the photo documents, then use the spot's document ID to find the folder, and then the photo document IDs to load the actual photo images from Firebase storage. So this means we're going to need to read in all of the photo documents when we look at a particular spot, but that's super easy. It's nearly identical to the way that we read in all of our restaurant reviews that were stored in review documents in the reviews collection. Let's do it. So to load all of our photo documents, we'll create a photos class to hold an array of individual photo documents, just like we did with our reviews plural class. So let's create that new photos class. We'll right-click on photo, select new file, Swift file. Next, name this photos, capital P, S at the end. Click create. Then let's head over to reviews, plural.swift. The beauty of writing standard modular code is that lots of what you do is reusable. So let's snarf up all the code in reviews.swift from the bottom curly all the way through the very first import statement. Once it's highlighted, copy it, head back to photos.swift, and paste it in there. Now it's time for a little bit of code surgery. This class is not called reviews, it is called photos with an S at the end. So change that in the class definition line. And also, we don't have a review array property of review objects here. We'll change this to a photo array property of photo objects. Next, in the line that starts db.collection, we set up our snapshot listener, but we're not listening for the reviews collection, we're listening to the photos collection. So make sure that you highlight the string reviews and replace that with the word photos. That's all lowercase, S at the end. And further down, Xcode has helped me out by flagging errors. We don't have a self.review array in this class, we have a self.photo array. And the comment after this should refer to clean out the existing photo array since new data will load. And whoops, in this comment I spelled make wrong. Then inside the for loop, what we want to do is not create a constant called review. We'll create one called photo, and that's going to create not a review object. We're going to call photo, capital P, using our dictionary initializer. On the next line, we're saying not review.document ID equals, but we're saying photo, singular, all lowercase, .document ID. Then below that, it's not self.review array, it's self.photo array, and we're dot appending not a review, but a photo. And that's it. Nice work. So then again, just to double check things, I'm going to do a Command F to do a quick find on the word review, and I don't see any review in here. I think I made all of my changes. This is looking good. Why don't we head over to spot detail view controller.swift. Now what we need to do is create a photos object, and we need to make sure that we read in all of these photo documents. So let's create a variable of type photos. So right underneath our var reviews, we'll say var photos, lowercase, colon, photos, upper camel case, exclamation point. And we initialize our reviews variable at the end of viewDidLoad, so we'll do the same thing with photos. First, we can get rid of this comment that says eventually load data because we're already doing that. And underneath that, we'll say photos equals capital photos, open and close parens. Now we've initialized photos here. We didn't do it in viewDidLoad because of how Firebase initializes. We can't do it when we declare the variable, but at this point, we've created a database property in photos so that we can create a snapshot listener that will automatically and in real time and update our photos array to reflect any changes in the photos. as they happen. So how do we set up that snapshot listener? Well, we do it in view will appear. And take a look, we've already got our calls to reviews.loadData. It's the same thing for photos. So underneath the reviews.loadData, we'll say photos.loadData. Look at this, code completion knows about that method. So we'll select it, we'll give the spot as lowercase spot. We'll double click on the completion handler, trailing closure format. But oh, we're not going to be loading into a table view like we did with our reviews class. We're going to be loading into a collection view. That's where the photos are going to be stored, but we haven't yet set up a collection view yet. So let's get right on that. First, I'll put in a to-do comment, collection view reload here, and we'll scroll up top. We got an IB outlet for a table view. We don't have one yet for our collection view, so let's option click on main storyboard. We're in assistant editor mode. Let's find the collection view in the storyboard. You want to make sure that you're clicking on the collection view, not the cell or the content area inside of it. And once you find it, let's control drag over. Let's drop that right underneath the table view outlet. We'll create this new collection view and call it collection view. And by taking a look and seeing that the type is a UI collection view, you control clicked on the right thing. Click connect. Now we've also got to set up the image view inside, so I'm going to close my Swift code in the upper left-hand corner. And it's kind of tough to see, but in the document outline you can see we've got a collection view and a photo cell view, and below that is the content view, but we don't yet have an image view. So let's head up to the library, find an image view. I'm going to drag it over, and it's going to be much bigger than this collection view cell. So I'm just going to plop it right in the center. Then I'll open up the attributes inspector, and I want to set the content mode to aspect fill. That'll make sure that the photos fill up this entire square space. Now that'll also mean that if the images aren't perfectly square, it'll cut off either some of the top or some of the left and right so that it doesn't have any white margins in there. But I think that that's a better look than having the little white margins in your individual collection view cells. If you decide you want the full image, even if it's got white margins, feel free to change the content mode later on. Then with the image view still selected, let's head down to add new constraints. And we'll set top, left, right, and bottom to 0, 0, 0, and 0. We'll set the width to 100 and the height to 100, and that'll give us a nice little square image view that fills up the entire collection view cell. Click Add 6 constraints. So now that we've got the collection view set up and we've got an outlet for it, let's head back to Spot Detail View Controller, and down here in View Did Load, remember what we do with Table View Delegate Data Source, well, it's pretty much the same thing with a collection view. So under our Table View Delegate and Data Source, we'll say collection view.delegate equals self and collection view.data source equals self. Now we're ready to set up a collection view extension, and remember the requirements for those are nearly identical to the ones for setting up a table view extension. So let's jump bar down to our table view extension, and we see the entire extension here is really just these two functions. So we'll do the same thing collection view style. After the curly that closes the table view extension, we'll write extension spot detail view controller colon UI collection view delegate comma UI collection view data source open and close curlies. And this is probably something that's not happening to you, but for some reason, even after I wait a bit, which I cut out of the video, Xcode wasn't flagging for the expected error that I don't have the right functions in for the required collection view data source protocol. And I like that because Xcode offers to stub me. So instead what I did was a quick build and run, the errors show up, and with them this helpful little red ball where Xcode asks if I want to add the stubs, and I say, Xcode stub me. You can probably jump right to that step because your error probably showed up, so click that ball, click the fix, you get the stubs too. Then we have the two functions required for the collection view data source protocol, number of items in section, and cell for item at. Let's fill those out. Number of items in section is a one-liner. We just want to return photos.photoarray.count. Then for cell for item at, the first thing that we do is we create a collection view cell. So we'll say let, and why don't we call this photo cell lower camel case instead of cell. This will distinguish it from the table view cell above. Equals collection view dot, and it's also DQ reusable cell, and we want to select this option with the reuse identifier and the index path. Press return for that. The reuse identifier is going to be the string in between double quotes, photo cell, one word, upper camel case, capital P, capital C. You may recall photo cell was the identifier that we gave the collection view cell many videos back when we first set up the collection view on the main storyboard. If you want to go back to the main storyboard and double check, you can, but if you followed along without errors, then this should be accurate. And our index path should be index path lower camel case. Then the last line in this function is return photo cell lower camel case. And now we can jump bar back up to view will appear, and inside of our photos.load data call, we can delete the to-do for collection view reload here, and replace that with self.collectionView.reloadData. Now at this point we should have all of the photo documents for this spot read in, and now what we need to do is to set up our custom collection view cell so that it can display the images that share the same name with each of these different individual photo documents. So to create the file for our custom collection view cell, we'll do it right under Spot Review Table View Cell. That's the custom table view cell. Right click on that file, select New File, Cocoa Touch class. Next, make sure that you're subclassing UI Collection View Cell. And why don't you name this Spot Photo Collection View Cell? Click Next, click Create. Then just to get a sense of what we need to do, let's take a quick look at Spot Review Table View Cell. So in our custom table view cell, we declared our outlets, we set up a property observer. So let's go back to our Swift file for our new collection view cell, and let's first create an outlet. We don't have any outlets in here, so we only need one, since all we have in the cell is just the image view. Let's option click on main storyboard. We're in assistant editor mode. You can click and drag to widen the document outline to make sure you've got enough space in there to find the image view that's inside of the photo cell. And I'll control drag over and release, and oh, I've got nothing. I can't create my IB outlet. Do you remember why? Haha, I forgot to set the identity of our new custom table view cell. This Swift file isn't associated with anything in the main storyboard, so let's fix that. We'll click Photo Cell in the document outline. We'll head up to the Identity Inspector. That's the little icon in the upper right that looks like an ID card. And then under Class, select Spot Photo Collection View Cell. And now our cell has an identity. So if we control drag over from the image view, make sure that you've clicked on the image view, and we release in our Swift file, yes, we can create our outlet. So we'll call this Photo Image View. We can see that the type is UI Image View, looking good, click Connect, and now we can close up our main storyboard. And now let's add that property observer var lowercase photo colon uppercase photo exclamation point open and close curlies. We want to put in a did set open and close curlies, and then it's just one line. Photo image view dot image equals photo dot image. And so now we've got a custom collection view cell. Let's make sure that we use it in our code. So let's head back to Spot Detail View Controller, and we'll jump bar down to our collection view extension in the cell for item at function. And now remember, since this is a custom collection view cell, we need to downcast this DQ reusable cell statement here. Otherwise, this would create just a generic UI collection view cell. We don't want that. We want to refer to our custom collection view cell, because that one has our photo image view IB outlet that we just created, as well as the photo property observer. So we'll say as exclamation point spot photo collection view cell. Then on this next line, we'll set the cell's photo property that calls the property observer that sets the photo image view's image property to photo.image. So we'll say photo cell.photo equals photos.photo array bracket index path.row close bracket. And we're almost there. But we haven't actually gotten the image from Firebase storage yet. So we need to write a method to load the image from any object of type photo. I'll first put in a to-do comment that says we need to load the image. Then let's create the method to do this over in photo.swift. So let's scroll to the very end. Just before the last curly, we'll define the function. We'll pass in a spot. We'll have a completion handler. So the parameters will look just like the save data function. We'll say func load image open parens. We're going to pass in a spot, so we'll say lowercase spot colon uppercase spot comma completion colon at escaping open parens capital bool close parens draw our arrow open and close parens. Your statement should already have the closing paren and then open and close curlies. Then right away we'll put in a guard block that checks the spot, so we'll say guard spot.documentID is not equal to empty string, which is what we want. If you want to load an image, you gotta have a valid document ID. No empty string here. But if it is an empty string, we'll say else open and close curlies. We'll put in a return statement. Just above that we'll print our error. Print error did not pass a valid spot into load image, and I'll copy and paste this angry emoji from up above. Next, we set up our storage object with let storage equals capital storage dot lowercase storage. It'll insert the parens. Then we need to create our storage ref, so we'll say let storage ref equals lowercase storage dot reference dot child, and our first child is going to be the folder ID, which is spot.document ID, then another dot child, and inside here that's going to be document ID, and that's going to be the name of the photo document in Cloud Firestore, which is also the name of the image file in Firebase storage. Perfect! Then on the next line, all we need to do to get the data is to make a call to Firebase storage's getData method using our storage ref. So we'll say storage ref dot getData. There should only be one option in here with max size in the completion handler, so press return and accept that. Now the max size is just a safety measure to make sure that we don't download something that's too big. Now Google's own examples show a max size of 5 megabytes. I'm going to make this 25 megabytes to be extra cautious. Current iPhones are very powerful, so I'm not really worried about that. I'll just calculate 25 megabytes by saying 25 times 1024 times 1024. Then double click the completion handler. Data should be lowercase data, error should be lowercase error. Then let's deal with the error. If let error equals error, open and close curlies, and then we'll have a print statement, print it in quotes. Error colon, an error occurred while reading data from file ref, string interp, storage ref. And then we'll say error equals string interp, error.localized description. Then if there's no errors, we'll say else, open and close curlies, self.image equals UI image, open parens data. You want to select this first option that just has the data, not data scale. We'll pass in lowercase data, exclamation point. But this UI image statement might give us a nil, so let's add a nil coalescing afterward with question mark, question mark. And in the hopefully never occurring situation where we have a nil, let's pass in UI image empty parens. That just gives an empty image that's different from nil, and it won't break our code. And let's not forget our completion flags. So inside the else clause, we'll add return completion in parens true. Inside the if clause, we'll say return completion in parens false. Then let's head back to Spot Detail View Controller, and we can update our to-do inside of our cell for row at calling the function we just wrote. Now I don't want to call it here. I want to keep the code to update the UI in the collection view cell inside of our collection view cell code. So let's head over to Spot Photo View Controller.swift, and right inside of the did set we'll say photo.loadImage, calling our brand new method. And if we're going to call load image here, then we need to have a spot. So let's declare a spot property right above our photo property with var lowercase spot colon uppercase spot exclamation point. And then let's make sure that we pass the spot into this class from our spot detail view controller. So we'll head back to spot detail view controller, and we'll replace our to do comment with photo cell dot spot equals lowercase spot. Now back to the spot photo collection view cell. And in our load image call, we'll pass in lowercase spot. Let's double click on that completion handler. Trailing closure format. We'll set bool to success. And in the body of the completion handler, we'll say if success, open and close curlies. And then we'll highlight and cut out this line down here that sets the photo image view's image property. We'll paste it between the curlies. And since we're inside of a closure now, we need to make sure that we put selfs in front of both photo image view and photo. And just for completeness, let's print an error to the console if we don't have success. So after the closing curly in the if clause, we'll add else, open and close curlies, print error, no success in loading photo in spot photo collection view cell. And we'll add an angry. Then we'll head back to spot detail view controller. And for our final act, let's jump up to prepare for Segue. We got a little bit of updating to do there too. So let's jump bar. I'm pretty sure I put it to do in here. I'm not seeing it in my jump bar though. Oh, and that's because I just forgot to put the colon after to do. That's vital to get it to show up in the pull down. See, after adding the colon after the to do, all of a sudden it shows up in the jump bar. Let's do this to do. And if we take a look at the area in the show photo case, well, we see that we're getting the destination properly and we're passing over the spot. But we've got this old table view code here. But what we want to do is pass in the selected element of the photo array corresponding to the collection view cell that was clicked. Now, in this code, we're responding to a collection view cell click, not a table view cell click. And the code's going to be a little bit different. We've never done this before. Mostly because when you click on a table view cell, we get the cell that was clicked on through index path for selected row. That's row singular. Well, for collection views, there's only index path for selected items, plural. So we need to make sure that we get just a single value because we want just the single integer for whatever was clicked on because we need to pass that in as an index inside of photos.photo array so we pass in the correct photo object. Now the code we need to write isn't that much more complicated, but what we'll do is we'll use a guard statement to make sure that we are definitely getting a single integer for the collection view cell it was clicked on. So we'll say guard let selected index path, we'll call it the same thing as we normally call it when it's a table view, equals collection view dot. And now let's look at what we're going to get here. It's called index paths, plural, for selected items, that's plural as well. Code completion says it's the index path for the selected item, so select that, question mark, dot first, else, open and close curlies. Inside the curlies of the guard statement, we've got to have a return statement, and above that, we'll have a print statement, print, error, couldn't get selected collection view item, angry emoji. But if that works, after the close curly in the guard statement, we can say destination.photo equals photos.photoArray, open bracket, selected index path dot row, close bracket. Get rid of those comments. We don't need them. It's time to build and run. Here we go. Hammer time. No errors. Let's take a look at Island Creek oysters, and whoa! Look at these 3 magnificent images. You can click on each of the individual images. The collection view click is working. The photo is being passed over to our photo detail view controller. Nice! What if we add some additional images in here? Let's click on photo. How about this plate full of stuff from the raw bar? And we'll say raw bar is the description. Save that. It shows up. Collection view is looking great. Let's add another photo. And let's see, this looks like a plate full of mussels. So I'll type in the description, mussels. Click save. Looking perfect. Now, one of the things that's good about our design is that we load images in self-ROAT, so we don't load any more images than we need. If your app was super popular and there were lots of images for a given spot, you wouldn't want to, for example, load 200 images at once if you're only going to show 4 or 5 in a collection view. But we see that the collection view flashes each time the view appears as images reload. So in the next video, we're going to learn how to eliminate this by using a library that we've already installed called SD Web Images. Now that'll give us the ability to cache or save images locally once they're downloaded so they don't unnecessarily reload, and we'll be able to use some effects when loading images like a cool dissolve effect so that the images don't show so abruptly. But again, you've got loading down, another full stack skill. Nice work!